Booyah! Welcome back to another episode with your boy Lannie. Yeah, man, I started a little late today because the time goes super fast. Like before you know it, just like time is just going, man. So right now, guys, don't waste time. Every second count, dude. Every second really count. Like today, the day's just going by super fast. Dude, time I got over here, the time I, because before I get on this live stream, I work out. I work out, lift weights, and then go to the treadmill. And after all of that, take a shower, then get dressed, then come on the stream. So it's a lot. Time goes super fast, dude. But I love working out, though. That's the thing. Like I can't be like, no, I'm not gonna work out today. Like I love it. Hour and a half, get it in, then get on the treadmill. I love it, man. It's just a part of my life. But yeah, guys, today, as you can tell in the thumbnail and the title, yeah, we're gonna discuss this today. First time covering Miss Megyn Kelly. She's one of those she's like a politics reporter. And I spoke about her yesterday, actually. I was like, let me look in a little bit of this woman. And I found a couple of videos of her talking about the Puff Daddy situation. So I was like, you know what? Let me just react to that today, see what it's about, and see what she's about. Yeah, man, listen, like, guys, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining the live. And yeah, man, let's get to it, guys. Let's go. Yep, guys. Thank you very much for joining Lannie, man. Yes, tonight, once again, I want to discuss a little bit about the Puff Daddy situation. So we're going to listen to Miss Megyn Kelly actually talking about Puff Daddy before the sentencing and after the sentencing. Let's see how she really feel towards Mr. Puff Daddy, Mr. Sean Diddy Combs, whatever you might call him. I think the sentencing was fair, and I think he actually won. He probably not thinking about it like that because he has to do a couple of more years behind bars. But at the end of the day, bro, it could have been worse. So the sentencing for Puff Daddy, to me, it's he won. He won, dude. His lawyers won. They're gonna appeal the case regardless, but I think he came out victorious on this one. It could have been 100 times worse, dude. So he need to pray to God and thank God for the situation and just ask God to guide him through the tough times he's about to go through. But he'll be out very soon with the help of God and, get back his life, get things back together and just keep moving on. Everything happens for a reason, nothing bad that we do, we're going to get away with. So I'm pretty sure he learned that the hard way. I'm pretty sure Mr. Sean Diddy Combs learned that the hard way, man. Every bad decision we make as God kids, we are going to have to answer to those bad decisions sooner or later. We have no choice. We're going to have to go through the fire. That's just the way it is, man. But yeah, let's get right into this video with Megyn Kelly. And let's see what she has to say in regards to the Sean Diddy Combs situation. Where is it at? It's right here. Okay, so there it goes right here. Yeah, let's get into it, man. Let's get right into this video.
This won't surprise you. Combs' body language is totally different from yesterday when he seemed crestfallen and grim after the jury said it had reached a verdict on 4 of the 5 counts. Now, acquitted of the most serious charges, Mr. Combs appears energetic and relieved. Can we just talk about, here's the picture, here's the sketch artist's picture of Combs yesterday, of the grimness, and I'm sure we'll get one today of him looking much more relieved. I'm so confused about, here's a little bit more, New York Times, with a touch of levity. The judge said he assumed Combs would not want to return to the Brooklyn jail where he has been held. Combs shook his head vigorously and put his hands together in prayer. Oh, it's all just so chummy inside the courtroom for this disgusting pervert female abuser who I can't believe is about to roam our streets again. I'm sorry, I'm disgusted by this verdict. This is fucking ridiculous. I just find it absolutely outrageous.
What? Listen, this is my first time actually listening to this woman. And I didn't know she used obscenities. I didn't know that she used foul languages. And please, YouTube, bear with me today. This is shocking. This lady right here. She's disgusted. She's mad. And she's having none of what's going on with Puff Daddy. As you can tell, she sounds very, very angry at Sean Diddy Cohn. And she's a woman, so you have to agree. You have to realize that, and accept the fact, as a woman, especially as a strong woman as she is, she's very independent, very successful woman that she is. She's gonna take the stance of a woman, and the behavior, what got Sean Diddy Cohn into the situation that he's currently in, it all came down to the beginning with his girlfriend Cassie. That's how all of this started, and everything started on unraveling for Sean Diddy Combs. And a lot of allegation came out with him and different women, and he has a whole bunch of pending allegations within the justice system right now. Regardless, he got sentenced for the federal stuff, he still has a whole bunch of pending litigations in the justice system right now that he has to face regardless, sooner or later. So the way she's talking and going on as a woman, once again, she's a strong woman. She's an independent, very successful woman. I'm not expecting her to take a stance on Puff Daddy's side. I'm not expecting that at all. So I was just shocked of the languages. Listen, when I first listened to it, I was very shocked, and now I'm listening to it again and I'm still shocked. This lady has... Ladies and gentlemen, if kids are out there, please don't let your kids watch this. This lady has a party mouth. She has a very crazy party mouth. So please be concerned and be cautious if you have kids in the room watching this right now.
The amount of crime that this guy just got away with. I believe he committed arson. He definitely battered Cassie. He battered Jane too. The statute of limitations for battery in Los Angeles, California is 1 year. 1 year. So if they didn't charge him for battery within 1 year, and they couldn't because he bought the tape and it remained hidden thanks to those security guards out there, then they could never charge him with that again. There's no question. He dragged her back into that hotel room. Why wasn't that kidnapping? They only talked about the kidnapping.
And the security guard that she's referring to, he's the one that actually got the tape and sold it to Sean Diddy Cohn. But once again, I'm pretty sure that security guard, at the point when this situation took place in that hotel, I'm pretty sure that security guard felt some type of way in regards to Cassie. I'm pretty sure he felt bad, because anybody will feel bad. I'm pretty sure he felt bad looking at that videotape and having to actually be there when this stuff took place. But at the end of the day, Cassie, after this incident happened in 2016, she actually still went back, and she and Puff Daddy was together after that incident for a couple of more years. So you can't really put down that security guard for selling the tape and making some money, because what he did was, you could say it's bad because somebody really did something terrible and he made money off of it. But at the end of the day, the way I look at it, that girl, she still actually went back with Puff Daddy after this incident. So The security guy, he held his end of the bargain that he was not going to say nothing about it, and he didn't. He got pressed by the feds. The feds actually approached him and basically subpoena him. You don't testify, you're going to go to jail. So he testified against Puff Daddy in the case. But he didn't have much to say. All he said, listen, I was there, I was working. Yes, I gave him the tape. Yes, he paid me. Blah blah blah. That was it. Like he admit to what he did. You know what I mean? But I just think it's, at the end of the day, this happened to Cassie with Puffy that day, and she went back to him and was with him for months and months and months on, and was still partying with him, and she was still continuing living that life. And you can't say, like she was scared because of this guy physical ways that he was treating her, but because you hear Cassie on different tapes, threatening even her own brother. Like she's on tape like literally threatening her brother in some ridiculous things about, like outrageous stuff. Like, you know what I mean? In regards of her and Puff Daddy's stuff. Like, so you really just never know when it comes to Cassie and what the hell that girl was thinking. Like, like why was she going so crazy? Like, why was she doing all of this stuff? Like, you could never know. Because was the security guy wrong? Absolutely, he was wrong. He was 100% wrong for giving the tape to Puff Daddy, making money off the tape, and he was wrong. But listen, once again, as I said, man, there was a lot of wrongs in that situation. Not just the security guy, it's a lot of people who you could held accountable for the actions that day that didn't step up to the plate. You know what I mean? So it's not just Puffy. Hopefully,
shook his head vigorously and put his hands together in prayer. Oh, it's all just so chummy inside the courtroom. For this
all right, let's go back to Miss Megyn Kelly, man. Am I pronouncing the name right? Yes.
Opened up the Christmas presents and locked the door in and made a threat. There's no question in my mind he was behind the arson of Kid Cudi's car, and there was proof, plenty of proof to prove that. There was female fingerprints they found on that the firebomb that was left there, the Molotov cocktail, and the prosecution said there's no question he didn't do it himself, but he said, I'm going to bomb Kid Cudi's car. It's in writing. Cassie Ventura emailed her mother saying, oh my God, he's threatening to bomb his car. And 2 weeks later, it got bombed. Oh gee, it was just some third party who also had, it's just like the proof was there. Yeah. The beatings, the threats that if they didn't go back into those rooms and get off with these male escorts, that they were gonna get beaten. The testimony from that Daniel Phillip, who was the male escort, who heard Combs abusing Cassie behind the door.
I don't think that's a fair statement. When she said that if the women didn't go participate with the freak-offs, that Puffy was going to beat them. I don't think that's a fair statement, because you hear Cassie in a lot of these tapes actually being very happy. I don't think it was 100% consent by Cassie, but I honestly think she had a role to play in the situation. Like, yes, you could be scared, but at the end of the day, you're not trapped. Like, I understand you're scared of somebody, but you're not trapped. Cassie was visiting her mother. She had other contacts within her relationship, over a decade relationship with Puff Daddy. So yes, she was going through all of these trials and tribulations in her life, but you have to also remember, and I'm going to use allegedly, you have to also remember allegedly that Cassie was hooked on serious, very serious substances. So you have to think about that. The decision people make when they're hooked on illegal substances, it's not the right decision. People who is addicted to bad substances, whenever they use it, they're not going to make the right decisions. So I don't think all of the decisions that she made in over the decade relationship with Puff Daddy just came from fear. I think a lot of the decisions that she made also came from her bad judgment after being influenced by illegal substances. And I don't want to use the words because I don't want YouTube to get, to flag this video again. So I'm using, like, exactly when I say illegal substances. Like, I think she did make a lot of, decisions when she was on illegal substances. And you can't be like, okay, she did the substances because she was scared. No, you don't have to do things. You don't have to, do substances and get high out your mind because you're scared. I understand. Okay, the whole freak off part of it. Okay, you could blame Puff Daddy. You could blame Odeka. He probably forced her. Allegedly, he probably forced her. You could say that, but to consume and be a part of the illegal substances, like to be abusing illegal substances allegedly, I don't think people could really force you to do those things, especially when she had outside relationships. She had outside friends. She was still in contact with her mother all the time. She was still going to visit different people. So she had the option. My whole thing is, I'm not defending what Puffy did at all. I'm not defending what he did. I'm not saying what he did is right in no way, shape, or form. I'm just saying at the end of the day, she had a lot of opportunity to just get away. She had a lot of opportunity to just be like, you know what, I'm done with this. I'm going to the police. I'm done with this whole thing. But she stood with it for over a decade. You know what I mean? So you can't just 100% blame Puff Daddy throughout that whole decade of relationship between him and that girl and just be like, oh, he's the reason why everything happened. I don't think so. I honestly don't think he's the reason for the whole mess that happened within that relationship. I think that girl Cassie deserves some of the blame as well. I think Jane Doe deserves some of the blame. Like, I think all of these women that was involved with this type of nonsense, they also have to be blamed for for the participation, whatever level participation they was involved in. They had some form of involvement by their own will. I don't think this guy was strong arming and abusing these women to do all of this stuff without them having some input on their own to participate with what's going on. That's just my opinion. Let's keep listening to Miss Megan.
She was screaming, I'm sorry, as he heard him slapping her. Get back out there. She came back out. She was shaking. She got back into the escort's lap, physically shaking. She was so scared to the point where that guy couldn't perform sexually because this was so horrifying to him. What in the actual F went on in there?
So Megan, let me just 1 second, Phil. Let me just get Megan more pissed off, if I may. So if the judge gives him a reasonable sentence.
And the gentleman that's talking right now, he's actually a very good defense attorney. That gentleman that's speaking right there, guys, I hope you don't do bad things to get in trouble. But if you get in trouble, look this gentleman up. He's a really, really good defense attorney based in New York. He's based, I think, in Lower Manhattan. But you can look this guy up if you guys ever want to get out of some dumb shit that you guys did. He's a really good defense attorney, dude.
So let's say he sentences him to 5 years, okay? And he's already got time in and landing him with a halfway house. He's out in 3. How quick is he going to be accepted back into that Hollywood scene, blah, 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 blah? Or do you think people will still keep him at an arm's length?
I mean, look, I will make it my personal mission to maintain his humiliation in the minds of all Americans. There's no question he's fallen as this revered figure for a large portion of America, but he also has diehard fans who want to pretend this is a Johnny Depp situation, where he was wrongfully accused, that's my own view, by somebody who was out to get him, who played the victim when in fact she was abusive. This is not that situation. This is not. Cassandra Ventura was an extremely sympathetic witness who was not some powerful, I'm going to play Kid Cudi against Sean Combs.
And that's a fair question that he just asks Megyn Kelly. Like, do you honestly think, and what do you guys think out there? Do you think that when Puffy comes back out into society, that how long would you think it will be before people actually accept him back as the superstar that he was before all of this stuff happened? because Puffy was a superstar. Before all of this happened, he had a bunch of he has a bunch of investments in a lot of things. You know, he has a lot of investments going on, but how long you think that people is going to still keep him on a high level, or people is going to try the best to distance away from Puff Daddy? I think, listen, in life, people respect others that take accountability for their actions. So the letter that he wrote to the judge, if that's honestly how he feels in his heart, if that's honestly the changes that he made being behind bars, I think he will be accepted back into society very fast. Because people have the tendency to want to forgive someone when they come out and say, listen, I'm going to take full responsibilities for my action. I'm going to hold myself accountable for the actions that I've done that hurt other people. You know, that's what he basically told the judge in that letter. And if he really meant that, I think he has a big chance when he comes out of jail to be accepted back into society as, you know, as a high figure. You know, because once again, man, it's all about you having the guts to say I'm sorry. It's all about you saying, listen, man, I know what I did was wrong. It's all about you coming out and being like, what I did was totally wrong. You know, I messed up. I'm not perfect. You know what I mean? And at that point in my life, I was everything that he wrote in that letter to the judge. At the point of all of this stuff happening in his life, he was on drugs, and a lot of the decisions he made because of, you know, abusing substances. And if majority of the things that he told that judge in that letter, if that's how he really truly feel in his heart, I think Puff Daddy, Sean Diddy, will be accepted back into society at a very high level when he return into society in the streets. Because you have to remember, still, what he did was terribly wrong, but he still have friends that, you know, is in high positions. He still has a lot of businesses right now, regardless he's in jail, regardless he's locked up, he's still making money. He's behind bars, but he's still generating income because of the investments that he made when he was outside in the streets. So he's still generating wealth. He's still making money every single day, all day, every night. He's still generating wealth for him and his family. You know, and he has a lot of people that he still have good relationships with that, you know, that could bring him back up to that level at a fast pace. And with him getting a good PR team, that's all you need, especially when you have money. You could get yourself the best PR team that money can buy to just make and create stories around the stuff that you have done to make people feel super duper sorry for you now. Like, listen, this guy, you know, like they could create so many things around you. You get a good PR team, do that. They could paint pictures to make you look like, yes, this guy really is sorry. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a lot of things that you could do when you have money that could make you, you know, to make you come back up at a quick pace. You know, to make people love you again, to make people forgive you, to make people want to give you another chance. You know what I mean? I don't think he's going to be down and out for a long period of time when he come back into the streets. I really don't think so, but Megyn Kelly's like, she's gonna keep her foot in the gas. She said, I'm gonna keep my foot in the gas. I'm gonna constantly, when he comes out in the streets, I'm gonna constantly bring this stuff up. And hey, who knows? Probably that's her word. Probably she keeps her word.
She was traumatized by this guy. She remains suicidal to this day, given all that was done to her. Listen to this. I almost don't even want to read these updates. New York Times, Sean Combs is now on his knees, his elbows on the chair where he was sitting, his head buried. He appeared to be praying. He started a round of applause, which was echoed by his family, who are jubilant. Yay, yay, we only have an abuser and solicitor of prostitutes in the family, not a sex trafficker. Sean Combs' supporters and family are now clapping and whistling for his legal team, who are all embracing each other. They actually did get a victory, and that's different. They should be hugging. Go ahead, Phil.
The judge is allowing that kind of thing in the court.
Yeah, I'm surprised about that also.
Yeah, what's that about?
Or maybe the judge is all that. There's no place in the courtroom for this because look, regardless of whether or not you agree or disagree with the verdict, there's a certain dignity and decorum that's
absorbed.
This is the type of guys that literally they just think what he did was terrible. And I don't know who that guy is. The guy that's just speaking right now, I have no idea who he is. I know the other guy, he's a lawyer. But I don't know who this dude is right here, the one that was speaking before he clipped it off. But it's obviously he don't like Puffy neither. He said the things that the family was doing in the courtroom is unacceptable. He said it's completely unacceptable. I don't understand how the judge is allowing these people to get away with this behavior in the courtroom. Insane.
They bring them in there and they analyze and they view things, and sometimes jurors are just stupid. Sometimes they're just dumb. Sometimes they're not capable of understanding the law or following the judge's instructions. So you factor all of that in there, and what you've got is a system where, guess what? After doing this almost 40 years, I have come to the conclusion that you cannot trust jurors to ever get it right, whether you're a prosecutor or whether you're a defense lawyer.
Well, as we can tell, I didn't know who he was until now. He's actually a lawyer. He's a defense attorney as well. So he knows the ins and out of the courtroom. So he knows exactly what he's talking about. I guess she brought two really good defense attorneys. I know the other guy. He's a good defense attorney. And I guess she brought two good defense attorneys that I guess she's just trying to get their opinion about the situation. But, this guy does not like Puff Daddy. You could just tell by the way he's speaking. Like, he's not too fond of Puff Daddy. I will accept Megyn Kelly. Yes, she's a woman. Like, the way the horse stands on that situation, a lot of women stand will be the way Megyn Kelly feels about Puffy. A lot of, like, strong, respectful, like, I'll say successful women, they will have that same stance. They will not look the same. The way they used to look at Puff Daddy back in the days, I don't think women like that is going to give him a pass when he comes out of jail. Like, I'm talking about like those independent, strong, business-minded, successful women. They're going to always look at him sideways going forward. But there's always going to be a bunch of women regardless that's going to be wanting to be with Puff Daddy. I don't think he's going to have any problems getting with any woman. Not with any, but I don't think he's going to have any problem getting a girl or getting a woman, whatever you want to call it. I don't think he is going to have problems because I'm pretty sure there'll be women lining up to actually deal with this man. There's a lot of crazy women out there, bro. There's a lot of crazy, crazy women in this world.
Jurors and juries cannot be trusted to get it right. They get it wrong a lot. And that is what usually brings people to the bargaining table to come up with, plea deals like we have seen maybe in the Koberger case coming up today. But look, you just can't trust a jury ever to get to the right result. Sometimes they do, but a lot of times, unfortunately, they don't. And that cuts both ways for the prosecution and the defense.
I'm so confused on what the jury has done here. Like, when you factor in the notes we got yesterday, Arthur, we get a note saying they reached a verdict on counts 2 through 5, but they couldn't agree on count 1, which was the racketeering conspiracy. Now we find out that at that time, we assume, it didn't change, they thought he was guilty of the prostitution stuff, but they did not think that he was a sex trafficker who forced Cassie and Jane to perform sex acts under threat of coercion or fraud.
I don't know that part of it. She said that he threatened them to perform in those parties. This is the first time I'm hearing that part of it. But she's with good lawyers, so I'm pretty sure she knows what she's talking about, because saying wrong things about people could get you sued. So that's the first time I hear that the women was forced into doing what they did. I thought it was, all mutual, but who knows, man. The Sean Puff Daddy stuff, that's what I'm saying. Like, listen, the sentence that he received, he should be happy. because there is so many things that came out. There's so many things that came out about that case that someone without the money and the status Puff Daddy had would have been buried. Because he had some really good lawyers. He had some really, really good attorneys, dude. The best money can buy. And what he got, I think he should be really happy. Right now, he's not laying down in a nice, comfortable bed, but regardless, you should be ecstatic, dude, because you got off. In reality, you won. You won, dude, because there's so many things that could have went the opposite direction for you. So many things that could have went the opposite way for Puffy and Denver. He would have been nailed. They would have nailed him to the wall, dude. So, couple of years, dude, 4 or 5 years, bro, you'll be straight, bro. Come out, you still have money, you still have your properties. Remember, guys, the federal government didn't take his properties. All of his properties was purchased legally with clean money. So the federal government couldn't take nothing from him. Like his properties, his cars, anything. They couldn't take nothing. So this guy still have all his properties. Every single thing that he purchased, that he had, that he owns, he still own everything. You know what I mean? Like, he still own everything. That house in Miami alone, that's like a $10-12 million property. The property in Los Angeles. So he still has a lot of expensive things when he comes out. So I think this guy he won. Because no matter how Megyn Kelly probably feels about him, as once again, she's a woman. So a strong, powerful woman, successful, independent, she's going to feel like that. There's any woman that's in Megyn Kelly's status, any woman that's at her level in life, independence, very successful, they're going to have the same stand on the Puff Daddy situation. I don't think no woman that's strong is going to think differently when it comes to Puff Daddy. They're not, because Megyn Kelly don't need nothing from Puff Daddy. She has her own everything. You know what I mean? Like, she has her own everything. She's a successful woman. So she could say as she please. She could care less. When this guy get out, she could keep her foot on the gas and keep talking about him, keep talking about the situation, and keep saying how she really feel. What can he do? That's the reality he's gonna have to deal with when he do come out of jail, because there's gonna be a lot of Megyn Kellys. There's gonna be a lot of women. There's gonna be a lot of people that's gonna constantly bring up this situation. This situation is gonna be forever in his life, regardless when he come out of jail or not. Yes, he faced the consequences. He went to jail. Yeah, but this is never gonna be over for him. There's gonna constantly be people that's gonna bring this stuff up to try to keep him down, to try to show people but of his past. But in life, ladies and gentlemen, we're not perfect, dude. We are not perfect people, and don't constantly look at people's past to judge their future, because people do change and people can change. You know what I mean? So I don't think it's a good idea that you judge someone based on their past life. This is Puff Daddy's past, believe it or not. A lot of these things took place with his ex-girlfriend Cassie. That's years ago. You know what I mean? Jane Doe, the second chick, years ago. You know what I mean? So a lot of these things happened in the past, years ago, and they're just catching up to him now. All of those bad things that he have done, years. It's been years he did all those things. But eventually catches up. I tell people all the time, and this you could look at Puff Daddy's situation, and that's just one situation, dude. There's hundreds of other situations that if you're a smart person, you could look at it. And you could be like, oh, it's karma. Karma is not real. But if you look at a lot of the situations, just right now, Puff Daddy is a fresh story. But you look at his situation and things what he's right now going to jail for. He did those things years ago. Years. You know what I mean? So, and he's finally catching up to him. 2016, we're in 2025. You know what I'm saying? So that's 9 years ago? Almost 10 years. He did that stuff in that hotel to that girl. It's a possibility there was other places that was not recorded that he assaulted that girl, but that incident in that hotel took place in 2016. So you figure 9 years ago, and now it's catching up to him almost 10 years later. So I tell people all the time, bro, don't matter what you have done wrong in life, when you least suspect, that's when everything resurfaces. When you least suspect that you think, oh yes, that's my past, everything is good. I'm not like that no more. I change. We all have to face the consequences for our actions, dude. And he's facing the consequences right now, and I'm pretty sure, dude, once again, I think when you're passing judgments on people, pass judgment going based on the future. Pass judgment on people, things they are doing today. Don't judge someone based on something they did yesterday, a week ago, a month ago, a year ago. Because people, once again, as human beings, we're not perfect. And a lot of people learn from their mistakes and move on to become better people. And in Puffy's situation, can he? Of course, he could change. It's not big because of his money. I think he's just know that what he have done brought him to where he's at now. Once you realize that, and Puffy is a very smart person, he's a very intelligent person. So now he's sitting in jail and he's like, damn, all my past bad decisions got me where I'm at right now. And I'm pretty sure he don't want to be where he's at, though. He don't want to be in jail. He don't want to be told what to do. He don't want to be, nah, hells no. This guy is a multi-millionaire. Now he has to, they're telling him what to do every single day. Like he's back to being a baby. So I'm pretty sure he don't want to live that life. I'm pretty sure he want to come out and be a better person and never go through this ever again. So people do change, especially people with mindsets of accomplishing things. If you're sitting in jail and you have that mindset of like, listen, bro, I want to accomplish things. I want to open businesses. I want to, I want to do this. I want to do that with my life. Like being here, it makes no sense. If you're a business-minded person, dude, being locked up and being anything around those type of environments, that's not for you and not because you're a coward. It's just, this is not the place for a person who has a business mind. This is not the place for someone who want to, open businesses, open up doors, open up doors for other people, give other people and get opportunities for other people. You want to be an entrepreneur, jail in the place. There's nothing you could do in there. You know what I mean? So if you have that mindset of having a better life and helping others to accomplish a better life, dude, jail and prison is not the place. So I'm pretty sure he learned that the hard way, but I think he could change. I think he have changed, and hopefully time will tell. You know what I mean?
And yet they were about to be a hung jury on the RICO count. Now, I don't get it. And then today, I guess the holdouts who said, I think he's guilty of RICO, this morning turned around and said, all right, he's not. Because they acquitted him of that. I don't get it, because how was there a juror who said he didn't sex traffic, but he might be guilty of RICO? I guess somebody was looking at the RICO statute saying maybe he did do the arson, maybe he did do the drug selling.
Right, the other predicate, right, there were other predicate acts that it didn't have to be the ones he was charged with. There were ones outside of the charged crimes that they could have said those were predicate acts and therefore he's guilty of the racketeering. Look, I'm happy he didn't, look, I'm with you about who Sean Combs is as a person, but as someone who works in the system, this RICO law has really been abused as of late. And because for what his original intent was.
As he said, dude, he stands on Sean Combs as well. Like, he don't think what he did was right. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people will not agree with what he did. You know what I mean? And seeing that video makes it 100 times worse. You know what I mean? So everybody in life, bro, we make mistakes as people, as human beings. We do make mistakes, and then just see the situation with Puffy. Puffy was at that point in his life. He even admit at that point in his life he was abusing substance on a daily basis. You know what I mean? Like, he was constantly abusing substance. So he's that at that point in his life, like he really didn't have the, he didn't have the capacity in his brain to keep on the right path. Because what you don't understand, man, listen, that whole fact of abusing substance, bro, you're not the same person. I don't care who you are, dude. People who abuse and people who use substances, their brain tends to become different. The thought process, it tends to become different, especially even when they're sober, even when they're not on nothing, they're not thinking clearly, because in the back of their mind, they're thinking about just partying. They're thinking about using. They're thinking about just, what I mean? Like, let me get this and have this, have a good time. To them, having a good time is all the time. So a lot of decisions he made back then was based on the substance he was abusing. He admitted that. You know what I mean? And we're going to look at now her video that she just did. She just did a new video on the day I think Puffy got sentenced. Let's check this video out.
Who's a lawyer for Combs. She happens to be black, which is relevant to what I'm going to tell you. She's standing up, like arguing for his life, basically trying to get the sentence to the bare minimum. It continues her emotional appeal to the judge. I think we're quoting here from CNN still, or New York Times, through sniffles and tears by insisting that her client was indeed remorseful. Quote, "I will tell you that Mr. Combs has been sitting in a jail cell for 13 months, she said. He's clear-headed, he's drug-free, he's determined, he's focused, and he's remorseful. I can look the court in the eye and tell you that he's remorseful because I spend almost every single day speaking to Mr. Combs."
I think he's remorseful. I really do. I think he's very and sincerely sorry for all of this stuff. I think if this man could take all of this stuff, because once again, Puff Daddy's a businessman. He has a business mindset. So if he could take all of this stuff back and start from fresh, he would do it. I think he truly regret a lot of these things. But the car, she brought up the car with Kid Cudi. Do I honestly think that he had something to do with the blowing up of this gentleman's car? 100%, I think he did. Because you have to remember, back at those times, Puff Daddy had a lot of power. Back in those days, in the early 2010s, 2011s, 2012, he had a lot of power in the streets. He had a lot of connections. His money was up there. He had that connections that could make things happen. I don't think he personally did it. When you have money like that, I don't think you have to personally go do stuff. But do I think that he had the connections to get things like that done? 100%. 100%, dude. Like, that car was, you threatened to blow it up, and then a day later the car is blown up. Like, yeah, 100%. I honestly think he was a part of all of those things. But do I feel like he's remorseful? I do. I think Puff Daddy, Sean Diddy Cohn, I think he really regrets majority of the things that he was charged with. I think he really regret it. I think he regret the Cassie stuff. I think he regret all those parties, those freak off parties. I think he regret a lot of those things. I think he really sitting and being like, yo, I wish, I didn't go down that path. But everything in life happens for a reason. At least at his age, he could look back and be like, you know what, I had a fun time in my life. Those days was fun. It was risky, but it was a lot of fun. And now he could really come out of jail and be like, that's my past. Like, now he could really come out of jail and be like, I don't need to do this stuff no more. I don't need to be having freak off parties with baby oil and little mini swimming pools. Like, I don't need to live that life ever again. You could look back and be like, okay, you know what? I learned the hard way, but I enjoyed my life. I enjoyed my life. A lot of things, even like me personally, I say my story all the time. Like, dude, my past is not, that there's a lot of things that I have done in my life that I don't really appreciate. Like there's a lot of things that I have done that I'm not proud of. But at the end of the day, it made me who I am. It made me the person I am right now. You know, a lot of things I've done in my life, you know, I'm not proud of, though. A lot of things that I've done, I felt like I disappointed God, first and foremost. Like, I look back sometimes and I'm like, damn, bro, me doing this dumb thing, I disappoint. That's the first thing I think about it. Me disappointing God. And I could sit here and tell you guys I disappointed God a lot. So it's like now, every single day going forward, I feel like I have to always do what's right in the eyes of God, because I done messed up so many times. You know, I done disappointed my father. I done disappointed God so many times. So it's that now I'm like, dang, I have to catch up. I have to really, really do the right things every single day. No more me going down that path and asking for forgiveness. God, how many times is my father going to forgive me? I done beg for forgiveness how many times and still went back and do something stupid. You know, so at this point in my life, I'm not Puff Daddy age, but still at this point in my life, I feel like, bro, this is it. There is no more error for me to have. There is no more of me going down the path of like, oh yeah, God is going to forgive me. No, those days to me is over. Those days is like, no, I have to do what's right now. So hopefully Puffy get to that point in his life that he knows, like, listen, I don't have my past is not the best, but my past, I learned from my past. You know, those things that I've done, I'm not proud of it, you know, but I learned from them. You know, I'm not going to ever bring them up in boys' night out, in any parties that I go to. I'll never bring those things up as a conversation. And if people do bring it up, I'll try my best to avoid those things and keep moving. And just leave it behind me. Leave the past where it's at. And just move on to a good future. And just always remember, I don't want to disappoint God. I already did too many disappointing to God. And now going forward, I have to stay on the right path. That's the only decision you have to make. As a kid of God, that's the only decision you have to make. Because we're not perfect. And God knows that his kids are not perfect. So God knows we are not perfect. So whenever we do something that's wrong, God expects us to be like, okay, ask for forgiveness from him first and foremost. Say you're sorry first and foremost to God, you know, moving forward. But he's not expecting us to continue going back and doing bad things. He's expecting us to learn. But some of us learn the hard way. Some of us, God has to actually put us through really, really difficult times in our lives for us to learn. Because it could go both ways. It could go the way like God is like, all right, you know what? Let me get something very, very bad happen to this person. Or God could say, no, this is my kid. I really love this. I love my kid. I'm going to do the best I can. I'm not going to give up on my kid. I'm going to do the best I can to rehabilitate my kid and get him back on the right path. And that's the decision you have to make, dude. I made that decision years ago. Like, I have to just stop being a loser. Like, I just made that decision, dude, years and years and years ago, that I have to stop doing stuff and then asking for forgiveness. I have to, you know, keep doing what's right. Like, I have to keep walking the path, doing what's right. No matter how hard it might seem to do what's right. You know, back then, now to me, doing the things that God wanted me to do, bro, is easy. Because all God wants from us is just to be kind to each other, to help each other out. That's all. God doesn't want us to hurt each other in no way, shape, or form. You understand what I'm saying? So if you know that, if you know all you have to do to please God every day is to be kind to your brothers and sisters, help your brothers and sisters, be thoughtful to your brothers and sisters, do as much giving to your brothers and sisters more than you actually receive from your brothers and sisters. If you get to that point in your life and that's your mentality, I'm telling you, you'll be straight. That's how I think every day, dude. I gotta give more than I receive. I have to help more than I get help. I have to walk the line with God that I have to, because I done walked away from that line too many times. And hopefully, once again, Puff Daddy, he'll come out of jail and he'll have that mindset. He'll feel like, listen, man, I did all of this stuff. I'm done. Like, I'm a grown man. I'm not going to go back down that path all of those hotel parties, all of those things. I'm done with those things. It was a part of my life, but that's it. You just have to make that decision on your own. Nobody could help you make that decision. Not no therapist, not no family member, not no friends. Those type of things that I'm talking about, those are decisions that you have to eventually make on your own. You have to come to the realization of like, this is it. Anything else that if I continue to doing stuff that disappoints God, I know what's gonna come next. I feel like in Puff Daddy's situation, God is giving him another chance to come back out of jail and be a better person. But if he comes back out of jail, like a lot of people think that he's gonna come out for revenge on the people who try to bring him down. And if he come out from jail and he go down that path of being revengeful to people who took a stand for his bad behavior, the next step on his life journey is not going to be jail. It's not going to be prison. It's going to be worse. And what's worse than going to prison? What's worse than going to jail? I don't have to say, you know what's worse. That's how life works. God gives us chances. God gives us chances and chances and chances. And what God is giving him right now is a chance to rehabilitate himself, to become a different version of himself. He's at the age of close to 60 years old, but still, it doesn't matter about his age. God is giving him the opportunity to become a different version of himself right now as he's sitting in jail, as he's probably sleeping right now, as he's sitting in jail in Brooklyn, New York. God is giving him the opportunity to reconsider his decisions. God is giving him the opportunity, like, listen, I'm giving you this opportunity to become a different version of yourself. So if you come out of jail and you don't become a different version of yourself and you don't live your past in the past and you want to go back out there and plot and team up with people to go down the path of getting revenge and causing harm and doing bad things to other people, when you come out, what else is going to happen next? God is not going to put you back in jail. God is not going to put you back in prison. The next step is going to be, that's it. Everything happens for a reason, and we have to understand that. Every single thing that we go through in life, it's a reason we're going through it. It's sometimes everybody is laughing when it's good, when everything is all good and, dandy, haha, everybody's having a great time. But once things start hitting the fan and once things start getting tough, a lot of people cannot roll with the punches. A lot of people cannot roll with the trials and tribulations. You know what I mean? And revenge, I say all the time, leave the revenge in the hands of God. If you feel truly that people did you wrong, leave it in the hands of God. Because there should be no reason that Puff Daddy feel any ill will to any of these women that came forward. He shouldn't. He should just let it be. Let it be. That's the way they felt. In reality, you know what? Is fine. It's perfectly fine. He should have no type of ill will towards Cassie, towards Jane Doe, to number two. No ill will to none of the people that participated in the federal indictment with him. He should have no ill will to nobody, because everything happens for a reason. And at the end of the day, he's facing the consequences for a lot of the bad decisions that he had made in his past. Eventually, it's going to catch up to him sooner or later. He should just be grateful that it caught up to him in his 50s, 60 years old. He should just be grateful. It happened now. Look at Bernie Madoff. Bernie Madoff, and if you don't know who Bernie Madoff is, that's a man who was running a Ponzi scheme. A Ponzi scheme, if you don't know what that is, that's basically taking people's money, telling them that you're going to invest the money into stocks, bonds, treasuries, that you're going to invest their money to make them wealthy. And you're just taking these people money for you and your family to have a good life. That man, Bernie Madoff, did this for years. Years. But guess what? In his 70s, he got caught for it. In his 70s. In your 70s, you're supposed to be relaxing someplace on a beach, going fishing on a Sunday, or playing golf on a Sunday. Like, you're supposed to enjoy life in your 70s. Not going to prison. Not ending up in prison. And bro, hells no. But that's how life works. Eventually it catches up to you. bro, and no things that you do bad. We're all got kids. And if you think that you could do bad to me to get ahead, we're all got kids. We are supposed to do what's right for each other. We are supposed to help each other. That is exactly what God, that's exactly what God wants from his kids. To be kind to each other, to help each other out, to uplift each other, to do what's right for each other. So if you think as a family member of mine that you could just do bad to me so you could get ahead in life, eventually it's going to come back to you, dude. It comes back. I'm telling you, it always comes back. And I brought up Bernie Madoff because he was in his 70s when they got him. Puffy is in his 50s, 60s. I don't know Puffy's exact age, but I think he's probably like his 60s or late 50s. I don't know. But anyway, my whole point is he still has a long life ahead of him, Puff Daddy. You know, he didn't get what Bernie Madoff got. You know what I mean? So Puffy won. My whole thing is, dude, it always comes back. No matter at what point, he should just be grateful it didn't come back to him when he's in his late 60s, 70s, and he has to go through this situation. At least now he still have strength. He still have, the determination to fight battles. Like, he's strong. Puffy's a strong guy. So he still have the ability to fight. You know what I mean? So God bless him. I hope and wish him the best. Let's listen to Miss Megyn Kelly one more time before I wrap this live up.
Your Honor, he gets it, simply put, said Miss Westmoreland. So, are you starting to feel a little wobbly on, a harsh sentence for Diddy, Arthur?
Well, the one thing I can tell you is she probably did talk to him every day. Megan, in the very beginning of his arrest, of his legal problems, I was asked if I wanted to go meet with him to be retained on the case. And I was like, sure, why not? They're like, well, we just got to let you know one thing. I was like, what? They're like, one of his requirements is, and I don't remember, he wanted me there 4 days a week in prison or 5 days a week in prison to visit him. And I said, look, I'm not in prison. He's in prison. So I do know he gets a lot of attention from his lawyers in the MDC, which is just not a very fun place for a lawyer to be, except if you have singles on you, because then you get to go to the sandwich and potato chip machine and buy your client a sandwich and potato chips.
Listen, you're making, every time you visit this guy as a lawyer, I'm pretty sure each of the lawyers that represented Puff Daddy in that case, they all make at least $1 million a piece. I'm pretty sure the lawyers that he had on his team, and I'm pretty sure they all at least $1 million. You're telling me you're getting paid $1 million, and you be mad to go visit your client every single day, bro? I'll go visit you every day and stay with you for 5 hours, just hanging out with you, talking to you. Why not? I'm getting paid to be here. This guy, Arthur, he's a good lawyer once again. Like, he's a really good lawyer, but I guess he felt like he has the option. Like, I don't really need to go and visit a client 4 days a week in jail, in prison. I don't feel like doing it. So that's the reason I guess he didn't get involved. But other lawyers who listen, man, there's good money. Just have to go visit you and speak to you and communicate with you 4 or 5 days a week. Why not? I'll do it if I'm a lawyer, criminal lawyer, and I get a case like that, and the client want me to visit him 4 or 5 days a week, 2-3 hours a day, go visit him. Why not? I'm getting paid. I'm visiting you. I'm getting paid to visit you. I'm not going to visit you, or you're not my friend. This is business. I don't see a problem with that, but good for Arthur. Arthur is a very successful lawyer. Once again, guys, if you ever in the New York City area and you get jammed up with something, he's expensive though. You get jammed up with anything, reach out to that guy. He'll take care. He'll definitely get you. He'll get you good. He'll help you out really, really good. And yeah, man, to Miss Megyn Kelly, actually my first time looking at her video, and she's tight cool. I was expecting crazy stuff from her, but I think she's cool. I like her attitude. Yeah, I know she has a party mouth, but I like her attitude. I like the way she's, I like the way she angles things, and and she's a successful woman. So God bless Miss Megyn Kelly, and thank you for the content. And yeah, we'll be doing more reaction on Miss Megyn Kelly videos in the future. I just want to say thanks, guys. You could check out on she has her own FM radio series or some shit like that. She's on XM radio. I don't know what that is. I just looked it up, but she has her own like podcasts. So you guys could check out Megyn Kelly, man. She's entertaining, guys. She's not gonna bore you. She's not gonna be boring at all. Yeah, I hope you check her out, guys. Hope you guys, wherever you at in this world, have a good night. Ladies and gentlemen, always treat people the way you want to be treated, man. Always do what's right in the eyes of God and his family. Always make God and his family a part of decision making. To our United States President, to our Commander-in-Chief, Mr. Donald J. Trump, as always, sir, salute to you and your families. May God bless you and your families, sir. May God watch over you and your families on this beautiful, wonderful night and forever. May God watch over you and your families on your trips within the United States and on trips outside the United States. That's our President, Mr. Donald J. Trump. So every and all of God kids within the United States and around the world, may God bless us all. Ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are in the world, have a good night, have a good morning, have a good afternoon. Take care, and I'll definitely see you on the next one with the help of God, of course. Bye.